Thanks to Man Crates for sponsoring NFL Daily here today. Let's summarize the list so far. The fits for Dez Bryant, we're ranking the entire NFL. Dallas is last, Denver 31, Atlanta 30, Pittsburgh at number 29. 28 through 25, Chiefs, Bucks, Bears, and Raiders.
Saw a comment from John Brown. I responded to it in the comment section, but Bears, I think they're actually in pretty good shape at wide receiver. They don't really need a player like Dez Bryant.
24 through 21, we got the Rams, Chargers, Dolphins, and the Minnesota Vikings there. Next slate of teams, Jets, Bengals, Browns, Lions, and Baltimore Ravens. And then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars, Panthers, Eagles, Seahawks, and the Washington Redskins.
None of these teams have been true what I consider contenders to sign Dez Bryant. Now we're getting into some teams that I could actually see landing him this offseason.
All right, so let's do it. Number 10 on the list, the Arizona Cardinals. You got Larry Fitzgerald, you got Christian Kirk, you got J.J. Nelson, but that's really
Bryce Butler, right?
Oh, yeah, that
Cowboys
guy.
fans, where are you at? Who else loves Bryce Butler? I'm kidding. Bryce
Bryce
Butler was not that good of a player for Dallas. Fun fact, and this is going to be my anti-Bryce Butler rant for the week, Cam, or maybe month. Everyone likes to say that Dez Bryant had issues with drops last year, and he absolutely did. Guess who dropped a higher percentage of his passes last year for the Cowboys?
Not Dez Bryant.
Bryce Butler did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're right, not Dez Bryant. So Butler is a low-end wide receiver who is a nice deep threat at times. Dez Bryant could be another nice option and a better option because I'm not a big Chad Williams guy, but I think Arizona in the end wants to give him a chance, so that's where they're going to go with their top three guys, I would think. We'll see what Bryce Butler ends up doing for Arizona, but I'm not banking on Bryce being a guy for the Cardinals going forward long term. So that's why Arizona's 10th. I think they want it to be Fitz, Kirk, and Chad Williams as well.
I think they're a very intriguing option, so stay tuned on the Cardinals there, perhaps signing Dez Bryant. Let's go to number 9 here, the Tennessee Titans. They've got the salary cap space to do it. Delaney Walker recently said he'd love to have Dez on the team. They do have some young wide receivers there.
The more and more I like it. I'm all aboard the Marcus Mariota hype train this year. Titans fans, you're going to love me this year. Probably hate me if the Titans make the playoffs next year. Anyway, you have Corey Davis, who I really like as a number one guy. Tawan Taylor, I think, is a nice slot guy. Rashard Matthews can be a 2, but he can also be a 4. I would bring in Dez Bryant, and then all of a sudden, you got Corey Davis, Delaney Walker, Dion Lewis, Dez Bryant, Rashard Matthews, Tawan Taylor, whatever. Tajay Shark can be your number 5 guy. He can play some special team stuff. I think Taylor can as well. You have Derrick Henry. That's a really good offense.
Super Bowl.
Like, on paper, this Titans team should be really good with or without Dez Bryant. Now, we'll see how the new coaching staff fares, and they got held back last year. But I actually like the idea of Dez Bryant going to Tennessee. Now, we'll see how he fares splitting time with Corey Davis and Matthews and all that. I think it's going to be a big year for Corey Davis as well, by the way. But I think this is a nice dark horse sleeper type team to land Dez Bryant if Tennessee decides that they have interest. Even though I don't know if Dez is really a John Robinson type of guy.
Yeah, the GM, of course, there in Tennessee. Now, what you said about Mariota and jumping on that bandwagon, one of the more efficient red zone throwers within the last few years, and now potentially you insert Dez Bryant into that equation, Mariota can be even better inside the 20s, and I think that is worth monitoring there. If you're Mike Vrabel / John Robinson here, thinking about bringing in a Dez Bryant, and you've got offensive coordinator Matt LaFleur there as well, who could work well with Dez Bryant and
There's
Marcus
a
Mariota.
lot of good upside there.
There's reason to believe this could happen.
They are my favorite sleeper dark horse team.
All right, so the Titans are there at number 9. Let's go to number 8. We'll stay in the AFC South and take a look at the Houston Texans. Salary cap space, promising team, and DeAndre Hopkins on Twitter once called for Dez.
And play the Cowboys.
There you
Probably
go.
technically because they play them once in the preseason, too.
In primetime, too.
Yeah, so DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, your top 2 guys. They kept Bruce Ellington. They drafted Kiki Cudi out of Texas Tech. They still have Braxton Miller, who has not been the guy that even I thought he was going to end up being for Houston. They have Sammy Coates, some guys like Vincent Smith. Imagine this Texans team with DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, Lamar Miller, Dez Bryant, Bruce Ellington, and whatever body they throw at tight end. Maybe it's Jordan Akins. Fun lineup. On the flip side, Cam, they have no offensive line.
Right.
So
nobody can block.
You got to get the ball out quickly, real fast
Exactly.
if you're Deshaun Watson. This, I think, would something that Dez would like. Doesn't have to really move all that far away. Still gets to be in Texas. gets to play against the Cowboys, gets to play with a promising young quarterback with a lot of other players around him. I think he'd get along well with DeAndre Hopkins in terms of their personality and Dez knowing he's not as good as Hopkins is anymore. I think this is a good fit. And these teams we're discussing right now, Cam, I think are the actual logical contenders here right now for Dez Bryant.
We're inside the top 10. The Houston Texans are at number 8 here. Number 7, the New Orleans Saints. And for New Orleans, you got Brandon Coleman there in town. Michael Thomas developing into one of the more elite wide receivers in the NFL. Ted Ginn, Cam Meredith, whom they brought in as well. A good running back core, Super Bowl contender, great quarterback. I'm sure Dez would love to go to New Orleans, but will Sean Payton actually make the move?
This I like a lot, and I would have felt a lot better about it had they not drafted Traquan Smith, because Cam Meredith, we'll see what he becomes. Ted Ginn is a vertical threat only. If Dez gets an offer from the Saints, Cam, I think he accepts it, because I think the chance to play with Drew Brees.
I think he would love it.
You got Ben Watson at tight end, okay. This Saints team with Dez Bryant, not that they need more guys at receiver, this is a loaded passing attack. Now, they're going to run the ball a lot once Mark Ingram comes back from suspension. They're going to do it anyway as well. But Thomas, Kamara, Dez, Meredith, Ted Ginn, Ben Watson, that's a loaded offense. And I think it fits well with the Saints game plan as well. Yeah, they don't have much cap space. Dez shouldn't be that expensive, you wouldn't think, based on what he said that he wants to go, be with a contender and win and then get paid next year after he has his kind of bounce back year on a one-year prove-it deal. And the Saints are in the middle of their window. And once Drew Brees is gone, that window might be shut for a while.
And when Brees' window closes,
so go all in.
So will Dez's window at the same time.
That's
pretty
fair.
Much. They're on the same track.
So
I
go
think.
go all in is kind of my mindset on that one.
All right, so the Saints are there at number 7. Let's go to number 6, the team that I think will sign Dez Bryant. You heard it here first from Cam Rogers. Hit me up on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. Let me know if I'm an idiot.
So
the Patriots.
we are on differing sides here. So Cam, tell me why it makes sense for Dez Bryant and the Patriots.
I think it is the classic New England Patriots move to bring in a veteran, at least for a workout, see what you can do with the guy, and then perhaps decide to sign him.
Agreed.
You also have the idea that Julian Edelman is going to be suspended for 4 games. Who are you throwing the football to, because Brandon Cooks is no longer there? You're relying on Malcolm Mitchell to be a good wide receiver, and we're still waiting on that. He's not even on the first page of the depth chart here, Tom. Chris Hogan's a viable option. Jordan Matthews, I'm just not a believer in.
He's a big slot.
So Dez Bryant, Tom Brady, I think would be a great matchup. I think Dez would be a little more mellow on the Patriots. When you're under Bill Belichick, for some reason your personality changes a little bit, or at least you're a little more controlled if you were formerly a bit of a diva.
I think Dez Bryant would be a great fit for New England, but I don't know if they want him, because even though I don't really agree with it, Cam, I kind of get the vibe the Patriots like their wide receiver core of Malcolm Mitchell if he's ever healthy, of Philip Dorsett as a deep threat, of Braxton Berrios as the potential next Julian Edelman type slot receiver, Matthews as a big slot who's going to replace Edelman, I would imagine, early on if Edelman is indeed suspended. They seem to like Kenny Britt and Cordarrelle Patterson. So I think it'd be a great fit. That's why they're in the top 6, but I don't know if New England feels the same way.
Yeah, and we can make that argument for a lot of teams out there. You're still waiting for the other side to express interest in Dez Bryant, not Dez Bryant expressing interest in whatever team we're talking about. So that's a big-time variable, no doubt about it. Patriots are at number 6 here in terms of fits for Dez Bryant. Let's go to number 5. We've got the Colts, and there's a lot of salary cap space to play with for them. Huge need, huge, Tom, at wide receiver.
Huge.
Exactly. After T.Y. Hilton, it's like Chester Rogers, Ryan Grant, and people I swear are made up.
Well, Dries Fontaine's a rookie. Deion Kane is a rookie. James Wright has bounced around the NFL since being a late-round pick out of Arkansas for years now. Bunch of guys people are also going to think are made up, Cam, so you're not alone in that one there.
Great creativity.
So need-wise, Dez is a big fit for Indianapolis. On the flip side, the Colts seem to know that they are rebuilding, and I appreciate that they're being honest about that. They have not brought in any major wide receivers. I think Dez Bryant, Eric Ebron, Marlon Mack, and Ryan Grant, it's not necessarily a home run group, but it's fun. I would like to play with that group in Madden every now and then.
Sure.
It's fun because I'm a big Marlon Mack guy. Grant, I think, would be a nice slot receiver for you. T.Y. we know is good with Andrew Luck and not so much without him, but who is on that team. So I think from a need perspective, it does make sense. But I don't know if the Colts want to bring in a Dez Bryant right now, and I don't know if Dez Bryant wants to go to the Colts.
That's fair.
Now, Luck's health is a big factor there. If Luck is fully healthy, and I think he's going to be, Maybe Dez be a contender, but I think that Dez Bryant wants to go to a contender, but maybe helping them out, Cam. Cowboys-Colts, Week 15. It's a matchup. Dez Bryant, revenge game, play him in daily fantasy.
I also think Andrew Luck would love Dez Bryant throwing the football to him. So
yeah.
Keep that in mind. All right, the Colts are there at number 5. You guys are watching NFL Daily presented by Man Crates. Do you know an awesome guy who needs a gift out there? At Man Crates, gifts are carefully curated like a museum, but actually exciting. They've got personalized barware, jerky grams, and project kits designed to delight any guy out there. The website, mancrates.com. Awesome gifts guys love, bringing you today's NFL Daily.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go to number 4 here on the list. We've got the Green Bay Packers, the Jason Witten prediction.
It makes sense if Dez is over what happened against the Packers, and I think that that's maybe a bigger thing than people realize, what happened with Dez and the ball that he caught. Dez caught it. The NFL has confirmed it, by the way. Cowboys fans, I know you guys agree with me. I think the Packers could use one more reliable wide receiver. Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb. Now, yeah, Jimmy Graham is that guy, but why not have them all, Cam?
Sure.
And then you can demote Geronimo Allison. The reason the Packers are not higher for me, they drafted Jamon Moore, who was a Cortland Sutton light. They still have Trevor Davis. They drafted EQ St. Brown. They drafted Marquez Valdez-Scantling out of South Florida. But in like a third down type unit, when you want to spread it out wide, does anyone top this group in the NFL? Serious question. Adams, Graham, Cobb, Bryant, Montgomery.
Maybe.
That's a really good group.
I'm not a big Randall Cobb guy myself.
I am a big fan of Cobb out there. So maybe a team like the Steelers does it. Maybe a group like the Falcons does it. I don't even think the Rams do it. I don't know if there's a better five-some out there in terms of skill people to go along with Aaron Rodgers.
Five-some, huh?
Yeah, five-some.
Green Bay Packers check in at number 4 here on the list. I'll tell you what, Aaron Rodgers is a surefire tempting option to pair with if you're Dez Bryant. So at number 3, we got the San Francisco 49ers. A lot of salary cap space. Here's the thing. The 49ers like their wide receivers a lot. Marquise Goodwin, Pierre Garçon, Trent Taylor, drafted Dante Pettis. Richie James has been emerging as well, the 7th-round selection.
You love Richie James.
I do.
He's good, too.
I'm in love with Richie James, and the YouTube commenters hate it. But
I didn't put him in the top 5. Oops, sorry, Cam.
There are representatives, I will say, Tom, of Niner Empire that are all in on the Dez Bryant hype train. They want him.
I think it makes sense because I like Pierre Garçon. I like Marquise Goodwin. Trent Taylor, I think, will become a viable slot guy. I think so, too, will Richie James. Aldrick Robinson is whatever for me. I don't care about Kendrick Bourne or Aaron Burbridge out of Michigan State or Victor Bolden out of Oregon State or Stephen Dunbar out of Houston. I don't care about those guys. I'm just showing off my college knowledge now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you are.
But I think you bring in Dez Bryant, and you have another more reliable option. You can delay Dante Pettis for a year. I think drafting Pettis actually really hurt the Dez Bryant to the Niners' chances overall, Cam. And we know that Trent Taylor is kind of banged up right now, correct? He's got a back issue?
Yeah, he had a back procedure. He should be full go for training camp, though.
Still.
So.
And I like George Kittle a lot, but remember, folks, Kyle Shanahan's scheme doesn't always value tight end. So I think you bring in Dez Bryant just for a year, and then next year, Cam, you unleash Dante Pettis and Taylor and your boy, Richie James.
All right, so hashtag no Dez, hashtag sign Dez. Let us know in the comments section. The 49ers check in at number 3. Let's take a look at number 2 here. Now, here is the opportunity for Dez Bryant to play the Cowboys twice a year, perhaps a third time in the playoffs, the New York Giants.
I think this makes a lot of sense for Dez in particular. And it's very funny to me that Brandon Marshall tweeted out there's no room for Dez Bryant, and then like 3 days later got cut.
That was a great tweet by you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It had a couple thousand likes, and me too, so I appreciate that. As for the Giants themselves, I think that Dez would be a great fit for them. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of mouths to feed on that offense, but this is an all-in, we think we can win right now with Eli Manning type move, which is, I guess, what the Jets think they can do. So you got Beckham and Dez on the outside. Sterling Shepard in the slot, along with Evan Ingram and Saquon Barkley. That's a really good group right there, Cam. That is a loaded group of offensive skill position guys that will help balance out a not-so-great offense. And those are a lot of mouths to feed, but I think it's worth doing for the Giants overall in the end. Because if you want to win right now, I think Dez Bryant is a guy that can help you do that, assuming, of course, Cam, that Dez and Odell Beckham do get along in the end. Because I think that they'd get along off the field, but I do worry about them getting along when one isn't getting enough targets, at least in their own eyes. I'm not worried about that with Shepard. I think he'd be a chill guy overall.
New York Giants check in at number 2, the number 1 team for Dez Bryant in free agency. The Buffalo Bills.
Oh
It's
my
Kelvin
God.
Benjamin, and it's just
Oh my
a mess
God!
after
This
that.
this receiving
Zay
core
Jones,
is so bad.
Jeremy Curley, Rod Streeter on the first page of that board.
Do you know who was getting first team reps? And we'll get to our second page here because I didn't even think entering the training camp he was going to be a top 10 guy for them. Robert freaking Foster got the first reps as the other outside wide receiver for the Bills during 11-on-11s. Robert Foster, who had 14 catches last year for Alabama and 35 for his career. Robert Foster.
That ain't good.
The Bills are devoid of talent at wide receiver.
Starving
And
for
I like
wideouts.
Benjamin. I like Zay Jones. Bills fans, don't try to sell me on anybody else at wide receiver. Don't you do it. If LaShawn McCoy goes down,
You're done.
the Bills are screwed. And I love you, Bills Mafia. If you're trying to win this year, go sign Dez Bryant. If you want to play Josh Allen, you better get Dez Bryant.
They have their savior, Josh Allen. Doesn't matter, Tom.
You better get You better get Dez Bryant because you do not have enough options at wide receiver to help out any quarterback. You are setting your quarterback up for failure this year because you got LaShawn McCoy, an often injured Charles Clay, Kelvin Benjamin, who we know what Kelvin Benjamin is at this point in his career. He's not a number 1 guy, and Zay Jones, who has just had a weird offseason overall. So go get Dez Bryant if you're the Bills. I think they are the most logical fit out there.
Time for you guys to weigh in. Hit those reaction buttons. Best team for Dez Bryant. Bills, Giants, 49ers, Packers. Give us a heart, like, laughing face, and a wow face, respectively. Hit them now. Hit those buttons. All right, so let's summarize the entire NFL and where they stand for Dez Bryant. Dallas, 32. Tom?
No, it's not happening.
There you go.
I'm sorry, Alfred. That's not going to happen.
Denver Broncos, Atlanta Falcons, Pittsburgh Steelers round out the bottom 4 there. 28 through 25, Chiefs, Bucks, Bears, and Oakland Raiders. Next slate of 4, Rams, Chargers, Dolphins, and the Minnesota Vikings. 20 through 16 we go. Jets, Bengals, Browns, Lions, and the Baltimore Ravens, who tried.
Not many major contenders yet.
Nope. 15 through 11 now, getting closer. Jacksonville, Carolina, Philadelphia, Seattle, and Washington. Inside the top 10, Arizona, Tennessee, Houston, New Orleans, and New England.
Your true contenders now emerge for Dez Bryant.
And the top 5 teams, the Colts, the Packers, the 49ers, the Giants, and the Buffalo Bills.